Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host, the noob, Caliban, and I love that we're talking about haircuts.
And we're a couple of magical people ready to moon prison power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is brought to you by the Moon Kingdom.
Speaking of the Moon Kingdom, I came to a realization the other day.
Yeah?
I was thinking about the fact that Luna, and everybody, I guess, is from the moon. And I asked before whether they're of the moon, if they're aliens, or whatever. It doesn't matter. They're from the moon. They used to live on the moon, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I can think of another popular character from comic books or manga that is a quadruped that lives on the moon and has a crescent on its forehead.
Uh-huh.
Lockjaw!
Yeah.
From the Inhumans.
Yeah.
Luna is an Inhuman.
I think this is pretty awesome, actually.
They've gone back and forth on whether Lockjaw can talk.
Okay.
And some bad writer, I don't know, let's make Chuck Austin our whipping boy. He's the perfect whipping boy, right? At some point said, oh no, Lockjaw, see, he was, a regular person, Inhuman, and then they exposed him to the Terrigen Mists, and he became a dog figure, but he still can talk or whatever. And whoever wrote it next was like, well, that's dumb. And so they immediately changed that back and just said that it was, they were playing a prank on Ben Grimm, which, I fully support pranking Ben Grimm. But no, he is just a dog. Now, he is a mutated dog, thanks to the Terrigen Mist, but he's only a good boy.
Right.
The goodest boy.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, maybe he knows Luna.
Maybe?
They don't like each other. But, maybe they know each other.
Really?
Something else I was thinking about, too, is that, this is what, episode 36? We're 10 episodes away from the end of regular Moon.
You are correct.
So
yes.
if you feel like everything is coming to a head, you're probably right, because we're kind of bringing things home a little bit.
Yeah.
Haven't seen Miss Aruna in a long time.
No, we have
Where's
not.
Miss Aruna?
Yeah, valid point. Yeah, exactly. We have not seen Miss Haruna in a long time. I guess we just don't have time for poor Miss Haruna. Yeah, but
we could have seen her in this episode.
Yes.
I think this would have been in past episodes, in earlier episodes. This is where you shove Miss Haruna in.
Mm-hmm.
Like the health club one.
Right.
Miss Haruna wants to get her hair done.
Valid point.
Yeah.
Why isn't she there?
Because we have a real... Well, look, we got to get into this
Yeah,
episode.
all right. Today we are talking about episode number 36. Usagi Konren, Tuxedo Kamen wa Aku in Japanese, or Usagi's Confusion. Is Tuxedo Mask evil, the English translation, and the English title, Bad Hair Day.
Perfect. And a little sad. That I couldn't use that one, but that's solid. Look, I've walked a mile in their moccasins at this point. Their gross sandals, with one of the flip-flop parts has come out of the bottom.
Yeah.
These aren't nice sandals. And so I'm starting to appreciate a little more. I think I'll be left blues behind. Haircut blues.
Yeah, right.
But again, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes. Would you like to give a brief synopsis?
I'll try.
Okay.
It's going to be a lot.
Yeah.
In this episode, we open on the Moon Kingdom, what we've come to know as Silver Millennium.
Yes.
But it should be Fire Sale Millennium, because it's all on fire. And Princess Serenity is chasing after Endymion. Mm-hmm. And this turns out to be a dream that Usagi is having. She's tossing and turning in her bed at night, and she's saying, I don't want to fight evil. Football practice. And Luna's like, snap out of it, which is not great psychological advice. It's like the old Bob Newhart skit. Stop it!
Right.
Just stop it! Usagi rolls over in her sleep and she crushes Luna under her arm, which she deserves, I guess. Does Luna eat? We've seen Luna eat like rice cakes and stuff, right?
She eats daifuku. We know that much.
Yeah,
and she drinks
maybe there was
milk.
just heavenly. Yeah, that she did drink milk that one time.
Yeah,
I just think about Luna. Does she do what cats do?
I think
in the morning? come in and sit on your chest
Oh.
and purr really loudly in your face and then lick your nose.
That's a good question. Like, does she have
And sometimes
restraint where
sometimes
other cats?
the little hooks on their tongue get inside your nose, and that's like, all right, now I'm getting up. But they do that. Usagi asks herself or somebody, the world, in her sleep, "Where are you, Tuxedo Mask?" Mm-hmm. And this is all before the show's even started.
Yes.
The next day, Juban middle. Can anything ever be the same again?
Right.
Tuxedo Mask is gone. Apparently, yes, because noodly oboe music starts playing, and the girls inform Usagi that a new hair salon has opened in Azabu Juban. Talk about early Sailor Moon plots. Talk about single-digit plots.
I think at this point...
Is this a commentary on how far we've come from plots like this?
Maybe, but I think at some point, like, the people of Azabu Juban should be really hesitant whenever, like...
No, this is Dystopia, fully.
Dystopia,
Any new business opens.
Yeah.
You wait to hear the Yelp reviews.
Right?
Before you go in.
Yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, this place is run by Kariko Tokoyama, an award-winning stylist, so maybe it's already got that going for it. And she's offering free haircuts for the opening. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal.
It is.
For a 14-year-old girl. And Usagi's like, wow, that's great. Which is another Peter Parker moment. You know what I mean? She's looking in the mirror, you know, with her hands behind her back on the cover of that dumb album. You know, she's like, I wonder if Usagi will ever reach a point where, oh boy, if I wish I could draw, I would draw this. But she's walking out of the alley, you know, and in the trash can in the foreground is a moon stick, you know, and a tiara and a skirt. Sailor Moon no more. Wonder if she'd ever give it up. Yeah, you're trying not to, you know. Anyway. But anyway, it's just like having to deal with this double life. Like it's really happening now for a girl who does not, you know, too heavily contemplated about her place in the universe. It affects her. Which
I think is good. I think it's really, really good that we see that she has a character arc, that she's changing, that she's not exactly the same.
This is my recap. At Hikawa Shrine, Luna is talking with the girls, telling them about Usagi's state of mind. And Mako asks if we know what's going on with Taylor Dan. With Tuxedo Mask, but they don't know. Nobody knows. We see a montage of Usagi being kind of blank while bad things happen to her. She was hit in the head with a ball, or she trips or whatever, or she sandwiches Usagi. I don't know. And Artemis is like, so what? Wow.
Thanks,
we have to get her ready to be the princess. And Ray, remember Ray? Mamoru's girlfriend?
Yeah.
Ray says, quite ironically, that, you know, the guy that Usagi loves was kidnapped by the enemy, so cut her some slack. Which is like, show, do you remember what's going on in the show?
Yeah, right.
You should watch a recap show. She's a little clumsy and a crybaby, and that's about it. But not. Mako's the one that actually puts together, like, oh yeah, like, she's probably going through some stuff too. Like, Ray's probably going through some stuff here.
Yeah.
But there's nothing she can really do.
Yeah.
Artemis, ever the taskmaster, is like, we can't go soft now. And Luna's basically just joins right in. Now she's got somebody else to yell at the girls with her. But Luna says, we have to make her into a full-fledged princess ASAP to stop the Dark Kingdom. But nobody knows how to do that. I thought you got your memories back.
Right.
They lost the handbook. It's Greatest American Hero. We talked about it. Back at the Sakino household, Usagi is listening to her music box amulet, and she's thinking about Tuxedo Mask. And she thinks, should I get a haircut? Kind of randomly. It's a little early, maybe, because immediately Minako comes in and's like, hey, girl, we got to get a haircut. You know, change your mood. Yeah. They're going to have a whole montage.
Yeah.
And she brushes out Usagi's hair, and we get a montage of different possible looks for Usagi. The stylish bob, the bold coupe sauvage style, or long and straight, which is not a haircut. They can't put hair on.
Hair extension.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah.
Although we do see, well, just, you know, that's what the pen's for, right?
Yeah, there you go.
No. We do see the one big braid style that I'm always talking about, right?
Yeah.
One big braid.
Yeah.
And Usagi's like, all right, let's do it. That sounds good. In the Dark Kingdom, Kunzite is watching Mamoru get healed in the pod when Beryl arrives. She says, we must take the crystal from Sailor Moon as soon as possible. And he says, yeah, I'm working on it. And she says, we've got to learn Sailor Moon's identity. He says, yeah, I know. I've got a plan. Check this out. Here is a hair from Sailor Moon I got from her in battle. Weird.
Yes.
I'll look for a hair, the girl with the similar hair, and that'll be her. Mm-hmm. And I guess this is going to work out. Hopefully she doesn't wear a wig when she fights or something like that. But this is his great plan.
Yeah, I know, right?
Kunzite is finally in control. We're going to see the power and the intelligence, the sharp mind of Kunzite. Guess how that's going to turn out. Minako and Usagi arrive at Kuriko Tokiyama's salon. Minako says, hey, fix this girl up for me, okay? Come on, let's do this. This is free, right? How are they going to afford it otherwise?
Yeah.
Usagi gets her hair washed. While that's happening, across the room, one of the hair dryers, the girl sits in it, comes down over her head, sort of flashes. And it's scanning the DNA of the girl in it. Okay, that's how we're going to do this.
Right.
We'll just say that, I guess. And Kuriko, the stylist who's washing Usagi's hair, is in on it. And she's like, it's not a match. I guess that black-haired woman isn't the blonde teenager we're looking for. Anyway, it's not a perfect plan. Minako is just chilling out. She's reading a magazine. And the stylist is like, hey, you want a haircut? She's like, no, I'm just gonna read this 10-year-old issue of Cosmo. And she's like, well, you can try out our free hair steamer, which is a thing, I guess.
At least in this anime, yeah.
So she sits down. The exact same sequence happens, and it scans as a match for Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
You dumb monster people. I think it's interesting that the show keeps lampshading at this point the similarities between Sailor Venus and Sailor Moon. Mm-hmm. Like they're literally calling it out in this episode.
Yes.
Like they go on a duo adventure and
yes.
Venus is mistaken for Sailor Moon. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, I do too.
Also, this girl has blonde hair, but you don't know her address. You don't know her name. You don't know her ID.
No.
So I guess you have to get this done right now.
Yeah.
Which is what Kuriko does.
Yeah.
She goes over and she just starts throttling Minako right in the chair.
Yeah.
And it's not a problem because her stylists are in on it too.
Uh-huh.
And they fog the place up with evil hairspray. Which they should be using this whole show. It's very good. Everybody passes out. Except for Usagi, I guess, because she had a cloth on her face or whatever. Mm-hmm. And she's crawling on the floor. And Minako isn't unconscious because she's being choked to death by Kuriko. Mm-hmm. Kuriko is threatening her with scissors, like, I got ways of making you talk. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you a mohawk. Give me the crystal. Yeah, tell me, check this out. And her stylists, who are dressed in red and blue, get together and they whirl around her in a tornado, and it ends up looking like a barber pole, which is chef's kiss.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
And they spin until this week's Yoma is revealed. And this one's a doozy. Mm-hmm. She's got like blades, presumably like scissor blades on her shoulders, blue skin. She's all in red with like white trim. She's got a barber pole cyborg arm.
Yes.
She's got like 4 red Pippi Longstocking pigtails that stick straight out.
Yes.
And she's got sideburns. Oh, and she's got a mohawk of rollers.
Yes.
On the top of her head, which is choice.
Yeah.
And Usagi's like, uh-oh, wow, nobody expects this to happen.
Yeah.
It's transformation time.
Yeah,
and she turns
right.
into Sailor Moon. Hold it right there. You offer free haircuts, you tamper with girls' hearts. I'm going to punish you. I feel like it's just X and you're tampering with girls' hearts, emotions. That's the why.
Yes. Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, you're offering free Caesar salad and you tamper with girls' hearts. I'm going to punish you. The Yoma says, you came alone? You're like a slug that jumps into the salt. And Usagi's like, oh, I'm a slug.
Yeah, right.
I'm Mitsuami, and I'll turn you into goo. She attaches a hairdryer to her cyborg arm, and it's like a flamethrower, basically. Like she's burning everything in the salon. Sailor Moon is dodging the fire. Let me dry your hair. I'm going to give you a haircut. She has a blade arm that shoots like scissors.
Yes.
So she's like shooting scissors from her like a machine gun arm. A lot of options here.
Yeah.
Sailor Moon is trying to roll out of the way of all this. It's not looking good. But she throws a jar of powder into Mitsuami's face and blinds her. Sailor Moon draws out the moon stick, and she's like, moon healing. Oh, the stick is knocked from her hands by a rose.
Yes.
She turns to see Tuxedo Mask sitting in a salon chair.
Yeah.
And he was not facing them. He threw that rose, then he turned around in the chair so he could turn around when he was discovered.
He's all about style, man.
And we see his rose turn black.
Yes.
And Usagi is just happy that he's alive. She's not really getting that something's wrong here.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm not Tuxedo Mask. It's weirdly dressed. I am the commander of the Dark Kingdom, Endymion. Mm-hmm. And Usagi's like, what? What's this? Mm-hmm. And he says, hand over the crystal. And behind her, Mitsuami has attached an electric trimmer attachment, and she's revving it up like a chainsaw. And she says, I'm going to shave your head. And she tries to smash her with it.
Yeah.
Little panty flash as Sailor Moon jumps out of the way. I haven't talked about that in a while.
Yeah.
EM, Evil Mask, says, Yoma, get that crystal. He's delegating like a good commander.
Yeah.
Sailor Moon is like, no way. And she runs out of the salon. Meanwhile, Minako finally wakes up and she transforms into Sailor Venus, which we've seen her transform before, but in this exact style?
No.
I think this is her first like transformation with the pen and everything.
This is the first time we've actually seen her transform on screen.
Well, she does. Yeah, I guess that's true. But I know I've seen her swirl around before, right? Maybe not.
I don't think we have.
That's just in the opening.
Yeah.
Oh, opening, you ruin everything. We cut outside to Dystopia at night, and Sailor Moon and Mitsuami are running riot in the streets. They're just blowing everything up.
Yeah.
It looks bad for Sailor Moon, but the Sailor Scouts arrive, and Mitsuami gets a supreme Fire Sundae Soul. Jupiter and Mars combine their powers.
Which I think is the first time we've seen that, too.
To destroy her robot arm. Mercury casts Shaban spray. Keep it up on me. You're doing great.
Yeah, right.
You're doing so well, honey. She clouds the battlefield. Now Usagi gives out the moon healing escalation, and we get a shampoo, rinse, refresh.
Yeah, that's great.
And all the stylists yell refresh too. So I guess they're all humans that are all in on it. And we don't ever see how. Presumably the black crystal is in Kunzite's possession now. Like we don't know how they become Yoma, but this is like a team Yoma.
Yes.
A bunch of people become one person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray is like, I'm so glad you're back, Tuxedo Mask. But Minako's like, hey, whoa, no. Oh, he's evil now. He's Evil Mask. Look out.
Yeah.
And the girls, they can't believe it. Meanwhile, they cut to Usagi looking sad, holding the moonstick. And I'm like, use it. Use it on him. Refresh him. This is your whole thing. Refresh him. Right?
Yeah.
He's busy spouting Zen poetry or something.
Yeah,
Hit him with the refresh.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen yet because we got 10 episodes left. He says roses have thorns and they turn black when they wilt. I don't like hurting women, but I'll do what I have to get the crystal. Just then he gets a call from the Dark Kingdom telling him to retreat.
Yeah.
So it's like, forget all that. And this order comes from Queen Metalia herself. So he says, okay, Sailor Scouts, you get to live for now. A woman's friendship is fragile. Even a breeze can make it fall apart. Beware that. Did the Dark Kingdom give him like a daily meditation calendar as part of the onboarding process or something?
What, like why is he talking like this?
Daily meditation. He's like, June 13th. Well, don't take any wooden apples today.
I think he's always kind of had a flowery way of speaking. It's just now evil. It's like evil coded. You know what I mean?
I guess. This seems like a lot more than before.
Yeah. He was talking a lot more than he usually does. I do like his
He's got a gloat. He's a villain.
Yeah, right. And he says something like, women's friendships are so fragile.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's like, what are you getting
Which
at?
woman is he? Is he going to try to divide the Scouts? Because they've been there. if they can't break up now, I mean, they've gone through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You're dating like Ray and Usagi's in love with you, but I guess you didn't know until this point. We'll see how soapy this gets.
Yes.
Not you, I mean, you're doing great, honey. He disappears and reappears in the Dark Kingdom and appears before Queen Metalia, asking, why did you call me back? And the Queen says, I cannot let you die. Okay. That's it.
Don't know what the plan is yet.
Let.
Yeah.
Like,
allow
she's just been
you?
cool with like the others. Like, hey, Nephrite, I didn't care about that guy, but we're not going to throw you into the wood chipper. It just goes to show how HR feels about the employees.
I think she wasn't fully awakened until what's the right word? Until the Silver Imperium crystal.
Sure, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, why doesn't
all Beryl
she
does
care
is just
about
threaten her
fatalities?
employees.
Yeah.
And it's like
right.
Either they kill you or I do, or you come back with that crystal.
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, I think it's implied. Don't take on 5 Sailor Scouts, and you might not win that one. And I don't want you to die.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we're seeing compassion between these evil people. I think that's interesting.
Is it compassion or?
All right, apparently I'm wrong because you're gonna
No.
Spoil stuff by trying to explain what it really is to me.
No. That's not what I'm doing. I'm wondering if it's true compassion or if Queen Metalia needs Endymion evil Tuxedo Mask for her plan.
Now I know what the next 10 episodes are about.
I don't know.
You go too far.
Do I?
Yes, you do.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Elsewhere, Beryl is on her throne saying, seems like TM is 100% Team DK now. And Kunzite agrees. She says we need to make good use of him now. So, a lot of vagary here from the Dark Kingdom scenes. Back at the salon, presumably the next day, the girls are outside of the salon, and Usagi says, Kuriko the stylist was just a normal person who got caught up in this. I don't want to see any more innocents get hurt. Mm-hmm. And Artemis, we track this from the beginning of the episode. Artemis is like, seems like she's finally accepting her responsibility as the princess. Or Artemis. Artie. Can I call you Artie? Art, then. You're new here, huh?
Yeah.
Usagi immediately turns around and is like, but I'm so happy the Tuxedo Mask is okay. Everybody face plants. And Luna is like, oh, I saw that one coming. Artie says, well, it seems like she's growing up at least. And Mako says, tracking it from the beginning of the episode, you've grown up too, Ray. You can't let this thing bother you forever. What a good friend. Why isn't she the princess? She's the best of all of them.
I love Mako so much. You know that I do. I don't know. I think there's something about Mako. She kind of tends to see like a bigger...
Fairly Brothers, right?
What?
I shouldn't draw this out. Go ahead.
She kind of sees like a bigger picture, and I think she's...
Well, she's taller, so she can take more of it in.
But I think, she's more empathetic to certain situations.
Empathy.
Yeah.
That's a good thing to have when you're a good guy.
Yeah.
Usagi says, I'll turn him good, meaning Tuxedo Mask. I'll turn him good with the power of my love. Mm-hmm. I can fix him. The end.
I never saw it that way, but...
So anyway, if anybody's keeping track at home, now we're fighting Tuxedo Mask. One of my predictions.
Yes.
Come true.
A lot of your predictions have come true.
It's not magic.
Okay. Well, I know.
It's not moon healing escalation. Just watching the first 90 seconds of the show. No, I don't know. I do like the fact that this is, part of the meta arc, the overreaching arc here, because they've got the crystal, but apparently it's still in play. Mm-hmm. But I also like the fact that they are still committed to, however kind of brief, having episode arcs too. Artemis is new here, and he doesn't know these girls, and he hasn't tried to take like leadership away from Luna necessarily, but he's right away he's like, all right, we got to get her to be a princess. What's her problem? And later on he's like, okay, I think I get her now. I get it. Mm-hmm. She's like got this thing, but she's also she does what it matters when it counts.
Right.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see how long he can take it.
How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin. Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Dean Gray.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on his
Wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so sorry.
What? For Kyoro Miro, or Curiously Looking Around in Japanese, where you look at elements of Japanese culture within the episode, I thought we would talk about salons and barbershops in Japan, as well as the Japanese concept of omotenashi, or omotenashi, or Japanese hospitality, but I'll get more to that in a little bit.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
The Japanese term for hair salon is bioin. The Japanese term for barbershop is tokoya.
What's the Japanese term for barbershop quartet?
Oh, wow. You really put me on the spot here. I don't know, man.
No, just learn to just keep talking over them.
Byoshi is the term for a hairdresser or hairstylist, while a rihatsuchi is the term for a barber or hairdresser. In pretty much any barbershop or salon, a complimentary beverage is served to you. You usually get to choose from among several options. This is actually pretty common in America as well. I've typically been offered like coffee or water, but the
cucumber water,
right? But the selection in Japan might be wider, and apparently some really fancy salons even offer you champagne.
Sure.
So
people are always getting champagne when they're trying on like wedding dresses in movies.
Yeah, I wonder if that's I guess you're making a huge purchase.
Yeah, wedding dress costs a lot, so I guess a bottle of probably $25 champagne is not the good stuff.
Right.
Is not that much of an expense. But it isn't also, Sailor Noob, isn't also just the whole process of a wedding. Everything is like a package or by the hour, right? So that guy's you're not tasting cakes for free. He's charging you for the tasting, right?
Oh,
and he's charging you for everything and the delivery and then making the cake or whatever. And so do you think there's like you're getting charged for the whole day that you're going to spend trying on dresses? You have to. You're taking up all their time.
That's actually a really good question. I don't know.
You hope to find out someday, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I do look forward to that possibility. Some salons also offer snacks to their clients, particularly if their services that they are providing is a little bit more involved, like a perm or getting their hair dyed. Having
your face taken off and put on somebody else's body and then reverse that.
Off?
Yeah.
This is actually a component of omotenashi, which translates loosely to mean Japanese hospitality. The origin of the word omotenashi comes from the Japanese tea ceremony or the way of tea. In Japanese, the words chanyu, chado, and sado are used to refer to the Japanese tea ceremony or the way of the tea. Chanyo translates literally to hot water for tea, while chado literally translates to tea way. Previously, the word for the way of tea was pronounced sado, which utilizes the same kanji characters as chado. However, when the tea ceremony began to get more foreign recognition, the word sado was incorrectly associated with the word sadism.
Whoa!
Which is not something that the Japanese wanted to be associated with the way of tea. In spite of this...
Unless you're drinking Earl Grey, am I right?
Whoa. In spite of this, sometimes sado is still used to refer to the way of tea. Besides serving and accepting tea, one of the principal points of the tea ceremony is for the guests to delight in the hospitality of the host in an ambiance contrasting from the fast pace of daily living. At the heart of the Japanese tea ceremony is the guest, with the host continually taking into account the guest with every movement. The most crucial part of the tea ceremony is that the host makes a bowl of tea for each guest from the bottom of their heart. Apparently, but it's very important.
That's the first time I ever heard about the importance of tea to Japanese culture, except for the fact that it just comes from the eastern part of the world generally, was in Karate Kid 2. So, plot spoilers for Karate Kid 2. Mr. Miyagi and Daniel-san go to Japan, and he meets a Japanese lady. Sorry, Elizabeth Shue, you're out. And she performs this tea ceremony for him, and she talks about like how important it is, and he's like, "Well, I'm getting late," but no, I don't know. But and I was like, "Really?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I was gonna do this, and you have to do it this way, and then you gotta do it that way." And I was like, "I have a bag. I just dip a bag in a styrofoam cup."
Well, I mean, it's its own definite thing. It's one of the most ancient traditional arts in Japan, and we'll dive into it deeper, I'm sure, at another time. We don't have time to really go into it.
Fight a tea monster. Teabag.
No, that'd be actually, I don't know. I kind of want to see that.
A giant tea bag.
But short answer, yes, it is incredibly involved. The host painstakingly, sometimes some tea ceremonies can take up to a year to plan.
Okay, right before you said plan, I thought it was perform. In fact, it started with a P. You're like, this is too long. This is too long for tea.
No. But, you know, care is taken to pick out everything, you know, within the ceremony, and even, like, getting the right tea bowl for each guest, you know, and so there's just so much on getting it just right and making all of these choices and things that will be there to benefit the guest. Whether the guest notices or appreciates it or not is kind of irrelevant.
It's not for you. It's for you. Drink it.
It is. No, it is. It's totally for you.
It's for me.
But
if there's something worth doing, it's worth doing the best you absolutely can.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's at the heart of a lot of that.
Yeah.
Going back to omotenashi, omoto means the public face in Japanese. In other words, this is a depiction of yourself that an individual, a corporation, or an organization wants to present to outsiders or the general public. Ura means the private face, and it is omote's twin concept. So basically,
so they're linked.
Yeah. So basically, well, no, that's a different word. Sorry. I was just mentioning it because it's...
No, but I'm saying, are you saying that they are seen as concepts that go together?
Yes. Omote...
We have that in America, and it's, I'm glad I could help you today. Turn around, jerks.
Yes. The words omote and ura are linked, and ura is basically, you know, like the private self. So it's like, you know, when you're home. In Japan, it's you know, you have your outside clothes, and just about everybody, when they come home, they change into different clothes, and you know, and I mean that happens other places too, but
so,
that's just a small example.
Okay, all right. So again, like, it's anything worth doing or spending most of your life doing, I guess, is worth doing, you know, to the hilt. And it's interesting that, like, because Americans want to take. We want to put our feet up on everything, you know, movie seat backs, airplane seat backs. Do you know what I mean? We want to be ourselves everywhere. And so in your cubicle at work, you've got like 15 dancing flowers, you know, and pictures of your kids and all that. And you're basically just making your cubicle like another room in your house.
That's true.
So would this be like the opposite of that? Like, professionally, I'm not saying that Japanese people don't have pictures of their kids in their cubicles or whatever, but when you're at work, I'm not me, I'm work me right now.
That's a really great question.
Well, it's okay
I guess
if you can't answer
I don't really have a great
I'm
answer
asking
for
tough
it.
questions. What do
Yeah.
Japanese feel about working at home? I bet they don't like that idea.
I don't think that they do.
Which is weird,
just
because
in general,
they do as much
very much a separation
desk work as we do.
Yeah.
And they're plugged in, you know, everything's networked, you know, they've got that going on. They even have a smaller space than we do. You know, if you don't have a T1 line at your Youngstown, Ohio company office or whatever, then, well, you can't work from home because we need you here with the speed of the network and all this stuff. We need you accessible, but they feel like they're all wired up, so they could just do it easy.
I think I actually read an article about...
And they save a ton of money, and sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're okay.
And they're burning power. You know, the whole thing's lit up. You know, so you could reduce the power consumption, which would reduce the fuel consumption and what you need to do all the power. It's all from home. Listen to me, Japan. Listen.
Right. Well, I actually read an article about how in some aspects, like the Japanese culture is handling like COVID-19 and the remote working. A lot of companies are really, really struggling with that because they don't want to let workers work remotely for a couple different reasons. I think
Can't make them do the exercise.
wow.
In the morning.
I think part of it is there's, for whatever reason, they feel like they're not going to do their work if somebody's not there.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have that here too.
I know. But I think that there is more pressure over there to actually... I don't know. I feel like people are maybe not necessarily being allowed to work from home, when they probably should. So anyways.
Interesting. But they'd be in full suit anyway. They wouldn't be in their pajamas when they're
No. Right.
Because work self.
Right, exactly. There you go. And the nashi, which is the second part of omotenashi, means nothing. So omotenashi means every service is performed in order to wholeheartedly take care of the guests or the clients.
It means nothing?
Yeah, it's kind of like... So part of this concept is that you do everything to... you anticipate the guest needs and you expect nothing in return.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The customer can always do whatever they want to me.
Well,
the customer is welcome to take over my life and steal my face.
There is actually a Japanese proverb
oh boy.
that is Okyakusama wa kamisama, which can be translated to something similar we hear over in the U.S. The customer is always right.
Right.
But many Japanese people favor the literal translation, which is the customer is God.
Oh, man.
So, yes.
I know a lot of American CEOs that would love this.
Right?
This isn't like, you remember on Mad Men when Don Draper was like reading the Chrysanthemum and the Sword or whatever. Like this isn't what we were talking about, right?
What do you
I haven't
mean?
read the Chrysanthemum and the Sword, but
I haven't either.
But when we became fascinated with Japanese culture, like in the 50s and early 60s, we were trying to take ideas from them. Also, we really started looking at them in the Michael Keaton Gung Ho era when they were kicking our asses in like auto manufacturing and stuff like that. But it doesn't seem like we've taken this part yet. We definitely have a thing where you could work at Target, and if a customer's mad, your boss would be like, "You should have made that customer happy. You're a bad employee," or whatever.
Right.
The customer is God. We gotta cut this podcast. That can't make it out on these shores. Forget it.
Yeah, I've read a couple of things like, Japanese people will, use that terminology, in situations. And it, it's like, wow, you just can't say anything. But it makes it very hard. But omotenashi is a concept that is very embedded in Japanese culture and depicts the philosophy of Japanese hospitality, which focuses around the attention and care to guests or clients' needs, as well as trying to anticipate what those needs may be. In the West, service such as going to a hair salon or eating at a restaurant is often performed with the aim that the purchaser will spend money on an item, an added service, or give a nice tip, whilst omotenashi is conducted without any reciprocated expectations. In fact, tipping in Japan is very unusual and is often considered rude. The Japanese culture is one that is strongly ingrained in hard work, courtesy, and dignity. Because of this, and honestly, because of omotenashi, good service in Japan is thought of as the touchstone, and tips are seen as uncalled for. Most of the time, if you do attempt to leave a tip, it will be politely refused.
But will they then go, yeah, but just give it to me though?
No.
Okay.
No, they won't.
Okay, cool. I guess.
Yeah, there are literally only two exceptions to tipping in Japan, and they're not expected, but your tip would most likely be accepted.
What are the exceptions?
The exceptions are private tour guides.
Oh, okay, private tour guides.
And sometimes, and not always, when you stay at a ryokan or a traditional inn.
Private tour guides. So is that just a wearing them down? Because if you're giving a tour and somebody's hiring you, you're clearly from another country. Every other country, I'm not saying it's good or bad, tips. So you're just every single person you talk to is going to offer you a tip. So eventually it's just like, let's not piss them off. Let's just take the tip.
It might be. I mean, I think they you know, what I read, they do interact with a lot of foreigners and that sort of thing. Something else that can be given in lieu of money is you can you know, plan ahead and bring them a small gift from home. That's often appreciated. Or
Here's one of my kids.
Or if
good
your
tour.
right, or if your tour stops for refreshments, you can offer to buy them tea or coffee.
Oh, okay.
Or if it's an all-day tour, offer to buy them lunch.
Well, we're locking down plans at this point.
So those are appreciated. At a ryokan, if you ask them like for a special favor, like something that they wouldn't typically do or what have you, it's nice to
And you
give
don't
them a tip.
tip your kamayui. You don't tip your stylist.
No.
Wow, that's weird.
No, you do not tip your stylist.
That's
In
pretty
Japan,
that's
in
de rigueur.
Japan, the prices
Reflect the...
are for the entire services because the tip is within the cost of everything.
So, well, I guess that makes sense. So I've been thinking about like symbols and symbology a lot recently.
Yeah.
If there's only something I could think of to represent why I'm doing that. Oh, well. And I think it's crazy that like the barber pole made it to Japan.
It did.
I-
I've seen it there.
Yeah. I mean, but it's just like,
I know.
and once again, we've talked a lot about, and I don't mean this in the way that we currently use it, but like the cultural appropriation of the Japanese being forced to open their country and them just, and also at that same time having a huge, you know, turnover in their government with the emperor actually being an emperor again.
Right.
And them just going, yeah, give us whatever you got. We'll just start. Is that a hat? All right, that's a pretty good hat. We'll wear that hat. But like the barber pole, because
Yeah.
people cut hair before this. I mean, people cut hair in the Edo period or wherever
Yeah,
else, right? But there's something about it, they're like, that works. You know what it is right away. Great branding.
Right.
Give me that red, white, and blue pole.
Right.
Just think
Right.
that's so funny.
It is funny.
Yeah, there's a barber right over there. Could you go into a barber today and say, give me a chonmage, give me the samurai,
Actually, when I was doing research,
shave the top of my head.
there are places that will do that.
God.
Yeah.
So like even Japanese people are weebs sometimes.
Sure, why not? I just saw a thing. So this is a very side note, but there's KFCs in Japan, and they have statues of the Colonel outside of every KFC, and they dress them up in like different costumes, like throughout the year for different reasons and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And for Children's Day or Boys' Day, which is in May, they usually dress him up in some sort of armor or what have you.
Armor?
But this
Like
year,
a Gundam?
well, no, I don't know what it typically is, but this year specifically because of COVID and to try to get people to keep fighting and everything, they decided they were going to dress the Colonel up in samurai outfits.
I think you missed where I just invented Gundam Colonel Sanders. Is it still called
pretty
Kentucky Fried Chicken over there?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a complete cultural blind spot then, because we've spent a lot of time in the last 2 decades like eliminating Colonel Sanders.
Or maybe he's
Who
just
may have owned
KFC.
slaves?
Maybe it's KFC.
from
but yeah.
the narrative, and then even downplaying the Kentucky part of it and just making it KFC.
It
Although
might
that
just
was
be
more
KFC.
to say that they got wraps or whatever. But okay,
Yeah.
you gotta
Mascot.
you
I
gotta
don't
love
know,
a
man.
complete cultural blind spot double down. They're just
know.
like, oh, interesting. Well,
I
anyway,
know, I
I'll take
know.
a 4-piece combo with a biscuit and teriyaki sauce.
Yes. In a 2014 Wall Street Journal article, Oliver Strand said, quote, "The service culture of Japan, which always over-delivers, directly contradicts the tipping culture of the United States, which supposedly incentivizes superior service but can have exactly the inverse effect."
Ooh, hold
Yeah.
on. If you hear a scraping sound, this is my soapbox that I'm dragging over here. We're gonna hit a singularity, I think, because we've handed so many. And I'm not saying like. First of all, raise the minimum wage. People who work in service jobs are way underpaid.
Oh, yeah,
First
for
of all.
sure.
But we've now, to avoid that, we've just outsourced all of their jobs to contractors now. So you're just some college student who's got an hour in between classes and you do a Postmate run or two if you can get it done in time. And then you just expect to get, a 20% tip or whatever. And I got to tell you, my history with those services has not been great.
No.
I still tip, but it's not great. The tip doesn't incentivize anything. And we're going to hit as more of those service jobs move to either people or even robots. Amazon's going to deliver things with drones.
Yeah.
A human can't find my building. How's a drone going to do it?
I don't know.
But anyway.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, we're going to hit a point where, hopefully we'll raise the minimum wage, but definitely people are going to be like, why are we tipping all this much?
Right.
If we can't guarantee service or I want to get a delivery from a robot because I don't have to tip them.
Right.
So that's going to push the humans, out of the service jobs too.
And that's not necessarily a positive thing.
Well, I don't think anybody loves being a pizza driver.
No, but you do it because, like you said, you just have time to do a part-time job.
Yeah, and if people are, tipping you, you make great tips.
Yeah.
Doing it too. But, when self-driving cars is going to completely eliminate the need for any of that. So we'll see.
Moving on to My Heart is a Kaleidoscope, where we talk about fashion in Sailor Moon. So a huge part of this episode is Minako going over to Usagi's house, and she, her suggesting maybe you should get your hair changed. And while she is brushing Usagi's hair, she suggests 3 different hairstyles that Usagi could maybe go with. And for each hairstyle, we see in the background behind Usagi and Minako 3 different images of Usagi modeling this hair with different outfits. For the stylish bob cut, Usagi is wearing a navy blue blazer and pencil skirt, a long puffy sleeved aqua long dress with a white collar, and a long sleeve light yellow long dress with a cowl neck.
Have we seen her wear any of these in the show?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I don't think any of these are repeat outfits.
Fantasy clothes.
Right. Who knows if she even owns these. For I don't even know what this means. But Minako describes it as a bold, savage style.
Yeah, it's a coupe sauvage.
A coupe sauvage?
Yeah, that's what that means.
Really?
Although what they show is not. I guess there's.
I don't know what that even.
There's
looks
different
like.
kinds of it, but it's just like when it's just kind of blown out and sort of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What they show is like her hair is really long and wavy, and I think in the third image it almost looks like it was crimped.
Yeah, I suppose.
But for these 3 images, she's wearing a long sleeve, long light pink dress with a red sash and carrying an aqua parasol complete with gold fringe on the end. And then she...
This is such a complicated fantasy.
It is. And then she's wearing a short sleeve aqua long dress with a darker aqua sash that has a bow in the back and a white frilly collar. And the third look is a long sleeve bright pink long dress. For the long and straight style, Usagi is wearing what almost looks like a Victorian era style dress.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. It is a long sleeved lavender long dress with a lavender bow in the back and a lavender bow in her hair. The dress also has a white frilly collar, and she is wearing white frilly gloves that fan out at the wrists. The second look, she is wearing an off the shoulder light pink either shirt or dress, we can't really tell from the image in the show, and because we just can't see all of it. And then for the third look, she's wearing a long sleeve aqua long dress with her hair, as you said, in a giant
One big
braid and a red bow to fasten her hair. Kuriko Tokoyama and the other hairdressers' uniforms are dresses that we see them wearing. And I looked this up. It's not like hairstylists in Japan, they don't necessarily have a uniform, and I think actually from what I researched, they're able to wear their own clothes, and that's kind of actually encouraged because, you know, you're going there to get style. You want your stylist to be stylish, so the better they look, you're more confident that they're gonna be able to do your hair well.
Yeah.
So they have kind of their dresses have kind of a clinical feel to them. They almost look like they could be, a nurse or a stewardess or a nurse's uniform.
Sorry, flight attendant.
Yes.
That's how old I am.
They are form-fitting dresses. Kuriko's is white, and the other hairdressers are either red or blue. The dresses go down to about mid-thigh, have short sleeves, a half turtleneck collar, and a long golden zipper that runs the length of the dress in front with a hoop for the zipper pull.
It's Austin Powers kind of a little bit.
It's very retro looking.
Yeah, I mean, just with like the simple, the form-fitting dress and the trim, and the hoop fastener.
Yeah.
It's a little shagadelic, baby. Oh, shag. Coupe Sauvage is like a shag too.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna have to look this up after we're done recording.
I'm surprised I didn't know that.
Villain gauge, where you rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. In this episode, we have hair designer Kuriko Tokoyama and her hairstylists that turn into Mitsuami.
Mm-hmm.
For the first time, we see Kuriko Tokoyama and her hairstylist combine and transform into one Yoma, which is pretty crazy, and we talked about this previously. As their dresses are white, red, and blue, and they swirl around and transform, they form a familiar-looking white, red, and blue barber's pole. It's... I think that's awesome. I think as you said before, chef's kiss. It's really cool.
And the name is a pun of a 3-stranded braid. Yeah,
Mitsuami actually refers to this term. It's not really a pun. It's, well, I guess maybe it is. The term is Mitsuami. It's just the Yoma name has 2 A's. Yeah. And the actual term has just 1, which means a braid or a plait with 3 strands of hair. So
which they're just leaning into the colors on the pole and also just braiding and hair and it's
deep. That's a really good point.
It's pretty deep, man.
You talked very in detail about the character design. There's just so much going on, but it's one of those where
it works because I think it's all to a design. I mean, the colors are built in.
So you've
got that, and you want to be threatening, so it's red, and the sort of white piping or whatever I think accentuates it, and then you want to hold on to blue, so you make her blue. We've seen blue-skinned elf people before. All the Yoma are like blue-skinned elf people for the most part at this point.
Yeah, I just felt like maybe it was like I don't know why I felt this way. Maybe this is just my personal preference. I thought it was like a little bit too much. Like I feel like they just threw a lot in there and like they should have
a gay-sen situation.
Yeah, I just felt
choppy tear Ami's clothes off guy Bundo
Bundo. Yeah. It just was it was too much.
Interesting.
Just in my opinion, I did really like that she had the arm that the barber pole arm. She put different attachments in. That was really cool. When I initially saw her, I couldn't figure out what the pink roller mohawks were, but like I had to like study her, and I was like, oh my god! And I thought that was really cool. Yeah. And obviously she has braids because of her name. So I mean that part I thought was really cool. She also has like, I don't know if you notice this. You don't notice it until after we see Tuxedo Mask. She also has spikes on her back.
Oh, okay, sure.
So she's all decked out. She does have some great lines, though. She says, "I never expected you to come here on your own, like a slug who jumps right into salt. And then she says, "I am Mitsuami, and I will melt you into goo."
Yeah.
But I think definitely the best is shampoo, rinse, refresh, which
Yeah.
is awesome. So, just because I thought there was maybe a little bit too much going on in her character, I'm going to give her 3 out of 5 dark stars.
I think it all works and
Okay.
adds up to a 4 for me.
All right.
She's got a feisty personality.
She's
she's totally ineffectual. But I don't think that has
That's
to
another
count against
reason
her
why I gave her 3,
wickedness.
but yeah.
She's got a lot of options available to her. She does not know. She knows how to scan DNA, but she does not. She is just a tool in this ploy. She was told to, so she performs her duty as she was told.
Mm-hmm.
There's a misunderstanding at the top.
Yeah.
About whose hair this is, but she does everything she's supposed to do.
Right.
And yeah, so I thought it was strong, and the sweet sorrow of a lot of these episodes is that every week we're introduced to generally an amazing new character or villain, and we're never going to see him again.
That's true, and you think there's so much design and thought by the people working on the
It's one thing to
animators.
follow a Hare, or a Usagi, but yeah, they have to come up with 200 quote unquote throwaway characters, and some of them shine brightly, like Mitsuami.
Very nice. For Sabu or Dubu, where we talk about the differences in the sub and the dub of Sailor Moon. In the dub, hair designer Kariko Tokuyama is unnamed. The Yoma Mitsuami is also unnamed. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know why they went that route.
She says her name like 3 times.
In the dub.
No, I'm saying in the sub, like she says her name. The Tuxedo Mask says her name. Like it's important that we know this person's name. I think they wanted you to get the pun in case you didn't get it. But then in the dub, they're just like, it's a monster.
Right.
That's sloppy.
I agree. It is sloppy.
It's a sloppy dick.
It is. Usagi's dream in the beginning of the episode is cut in the dub. Usagi's school is called Crossroads Middle School in the dub. So just to mention that. In the dub, the Yoma does not mention a slug at all, but a slug is still seen in the background behind Sailor Moon.
We should call this segment Sloppy Dicks. And it's just all the things that Deke, when they're, localizing this, are just like, whatever.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now take this part out when we see, Ami gutted from crotch to cranium. Then later on, last time on Sailor Moon.
I know! So many times they leave it in and they'll recap when we didn't see it in the actual episode. It makes no sense. They are sloppy.
Okay.
I could go on about my grievances with Deke.
We'll save it for the other 700 shows we're doing.
Now we get to our rating and our English titles. 1 to 5 roses, 5 being the best. I like that we get to see some alone time with Minako and Usagi. Honestly, in my opinion, the highlight of this episode is that we get to see evil Endymion Tuxedo Mask for the first time with all his really great flowery lines. All that being said, I am going to give this 2 out of 5 roses.
Wow. Now I feel bad about giving it a 3. A cool Yoma cannot save an episode from going below 3, I guess.
No.
But setting things up, like we said, we're on the bit now till the end of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like the revelation of an evil Tuxedo Mask, it's just Tuxedo Mask, who was already a little bit antagonistic towards them over the crystals.
That's true.
He's not like manipulating something and then, the curtain is pulled back and it's like, oh my God. It's just sort of, well, I'm a jerk now.
I'm evil now.
And they're like, oh, I guess he's a jerk. So underwhelming. 3.
Okay. All right. Fair. My English title is Usagi, Look Out! Duplicitous Wicked Roses.
Duplicitous Wicked Roses.
Yes.
Pretty good. I had trouble with this.
It was not easy for me either.
I had but I had trouble because my assignment is the Deke dub.
Yes.
And as you well know,
yes,
hair salons, at least in America, I don't know about Japan, I should have asked, there's some kind of, it's federal, I don't think it's a state law, they have to be a pun. So we're already in trouble.
Yeah.
So if it's bad hair day, that's just skirting the edge of it. So I guess I'd have to say nominally the title would be Curl Up and Die.
Right.
Or Hare Today, Gone Tomorrow, but like Hare, because it's making rice cakes in the moon. Gone Tomorrow. But I thought, and I won't take credit for these, but I thought I would give people a sample of what it is I'm talking about by reading out some of the best pun names for hair salons across America.
Okay.
Places like Die Pretty.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hannah and Her Scissors. What about Snip Teas?
Whoa.
That's not quite. Well, hey, a lot of them are kind of racy, like Finger Bang,
Whoa.
right? Or Nail Me Good. That's a nail salon. The Grateful Head,
Wow.
and best of all, You've Got Nail. So there's a lot of these, and if you go and look for on this list, if you Curl Up and Die, let's see. Newport, Greenbrook, Depew, Chicago. Different spelling of Curl Up and Die. Denver, Belmont Center, Albany, Malden. Like everybody's just you go Curl Up and Die.
That's
You go.
go-to.
I think we have to actually apply for that one. Oh, what about Deja Du? Yeah, or Crops and Bobbers.
Oh, come on.
I know they're all terrible, and I love it. But I'm going to stick with the classic Curl Up and Die.
All right, sounds good. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 37, Mezase Princesu Usagi no Chintokun, and the English title, Little Miss Manners.
Oh, okay. I saw the Next Time On, and so, yeah, they're going to princess school or something?
I think so, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, see you next time.
Well, that's our show for this week, and the Name of the Moon will be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Cheers to you.